Welcome back, everybody. We had a short break here while we get our next game lined up between the King's Court and Party Game. But we got to remind everybody what these teams are playing for. This is the last week of the open bracket, and that means we're playing to make it into the closed bracket next week, a double elimination tournament next week. The top 8 teams make it there, and they're playing for some prizes, some money, some moolah, some diamonds, and we're going to take a look at that through our graphic here in just a second. But first, second, and third place are going to be walking away with some prizes here, Musi. Let's take a look at them and talk about them.
Well, I mean, you can't beat cold, hard cash. But in addition to that, you also get some diamonds on the side. So first place gets that 2,500 cash, 12,000 diamonds. Second place gets $1,250 with 6,000 diamonds. And third place gets that $500 and 3,000 diamonds. And those diamonds, I mean, that translates to things like skins, cool name changers, cool colors, prisms. So it's not all about the money, Blaze. It's all about the drip that you get just by coming in that top 3 for Smite Prime.
Yeah, you got to be dripped out. You got to make sure you have the prisms to match your gameplay. You know, there's some pretty good prisms. They do change the way that the abilities work. But yeah, $2,500 cash. That's $500 per player. Not too bad. Getting some money along the way. And Dons and Burrows really running away with all the money. That's what really you got to take away from this is he is Mr. Moneybags, and he controls the money that these players are going to be earning through Smite Prime. Next weekend, they play for 3 weeks to get in that closed bracket tournament. Double elimination for the top 8 teams. Same time, same place next week, so make sure to come by and check it out. And remember, double elimination means there's a loser's bracket, which means a fun time. Someone making it from that bottom bracket to come compete for that prize money and the diamonds is going to be a blast. But let's head back over and check out the bracket so we can see who took some wins, who took some losses along the way as we progress on through. We obviously watched Night Owls versus Shiver Me Timbers, but seeing some of these lineups and how the bracket's progressing here, Musi, is there anybody specifically that you're watching out for here?
So, seeing I'm looking at the Bakery versus Savvy Vets, and the Bakery, of course, being number 1 there. I would almost expect that they come out against Savvy Vets, so we get to see the Bakery versus Cherry Slush. Definitely a game to keep an eye on. I'm excited to see King's Court versus Party Game as well. Bible Study versus the Orchard, I feel could go either way. I feel like Bible Study, really strong team, but you always gotta keep in mind the potential, like you said, from those underdog teams. So curious to see how that pans out as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the Bakery and Cherry Slush, who ends up taking over that slot and who goes further in the tournament, because both those teams are pretty well armed as far as their rosters go. Our next game is going to be the King's Court versus Party Game, which has some familiar names in it, obviously. But I am excited for the potential of Sparta Super Soldiers also making it further in the game, just because their name is really fun to say. Obviously, Ana de Armed Robbers has been here for the past few weeks and is looking to make that top 8. And, try to make it into this semifinals, into the finals this week. Get as many points as possible so that way you can make it into that bracket next week. The King's Court and Party Game rosters are almost ready to be watched here, but looking over at Party Game, we have Rudy, King Bop Bop Globe, Rimakami, and Kyaku. And then over on the other side here, we have the King's Court, which is Golden, Moods, Briz, Justin Who, and Snatty, Musi. Before we even take a look at picks and bans today between these two teams, is there one that you favor over the other?
So, I mean, we had a chance to see this King's Court game. I believe it was last week I had my eyes on them on the big screen, so I know what they're capable of, especially with players like Snatty, who I like to follow along personally. Such a strong player and really fun to watch overall. Puts me in the camp of, King's Court supremacy or whatever you want to call it. But you definitely can't count out the opposition here. I feel like they're going to give the King's Court a definite run for their money as teams start to get more and more filtered through. The competition only gets fiercer, and at this point in the bracket, I think we're already going to start seeing that.
Yeah, I want to say that they played each other week 1. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember Globe and Justin, who obviously on opposing teams here, but Globe's someone to watch out for here in the mid lane. We've seen what Globe can do through various tournaments, including other tournaments, and we're going to find out here as what they're wanting to play for their picks and bans. And who are they going to prioritize? Who are they going to take away? We do have to remind you, Kali and the Morgan are an unplayable this weekend. They are already comp banned. But do you think we see some of the same bans here? Do you think we're going to prioritize Sobek and Bari and then kind of get a little mix and match? Or do you think they go a different route here, Musi? Is there something else they should be prioritizing?
Probably Aphrodite doesn't make it through this game just because I imagine either Moods or King Bop Bop would be a little bit more inclined to try to pick it up. Poseidon is not what I was expecting, but makes a bit of sense just because Poseidon in that duo carry role, building like proc damage, especially because some of the int items are a little bit stronger now, has a lot of potential there.
Yeah, the aspect just feels good on Poseidon. Get rid of it. You don't have to deal with it in carry or in mid. We just saw what the Aladdin could do in mid. It is not getting through this game. Along, we see what the Artemis can do. Artemis, we talked about it earlier. The team fight potential that's there, the beads burn that's there. Artemis taken off the board, and now we're heading into the last ban here for party game. And we've talked about off camera how good Sobek is, and the fact that like, how does he keep getting either when he does get through? How? Like, you don't want to have to deal with him. You don't know if he's going solo or support. It doesn't matter which one he's going into. He's annoying to deal with in a team fight. Do they ban Sobek here, Musi?
Honestly, I think Sobek gets through here. I think Sobek gets through here because, never mind. Nah, they were listening. They're like, oh, wait, crap. Blaze has got a really good point. That god's broken. Take him off. I'm coping. I just want to see the crocodile on the big screen. It's fine. Oh, wait, Bari's through.
Bari's through. Yep. I was waiting. I was like, well, they banned Sobek. That means we get to see Bari. Too. So big dubs for us. Do we get some revives? Do we get some hype plays to the Baris? I sure hope so. I'm excited to see what this draft's going to do now. We get Bari let through, and now we have to decide what they're going to go into here for party game. Looks like it could be interesting here. There's so many picks to play. You know you're going against this Bari. Now, the one thing I bring up when we see Bari is, does a Khepri come through too? Zeus is loose for party game. He has been picked up. Wow. What a draft so far, Musi. We're 2 picks in.
These are very bombastic picks. And the speed at which Bari was locked into, I'm still laughing because, King's Court was like, run it, put it in, we got it, sick. But now party game has a chance to come back. This Fenrir hover, I really like that because if there is a character that can deal with Bari, Fenrir is definitely up there because you have items like Ansile, like Leviathan's Hide now too. If you can get that stacked up, characters that rely on auto attacks to do their damage, you get a little bit more value just by standing there and tanking it. And then you also have things like Nemean that you can proc. So when this Fenrir jumps on top of Bari, we saw Scream do it last patch. And now obviously last patch is not this patch. The game plan's a little bit different, but overall the function is the same. You build those 3 items and then you jump on her and she goes, I can't kill you. What do I do? Fenrir Ragnaroks and says, all right, we're going to take you into the Zeus Salt. Now you're dead. Now we just have to worry about the rest of the team.
Yeah, I mean, and look at the picks. We get Ymir and Odin. If you want to talk about picks that are going to kind of, protect the Bari, this is them. You got walls, you got freezes, you got stuns. And then we see the Anhur picked up here on the other side. Baron Somni is back, Musi. And we talked a little bit about Baron off screen about, support-wise. I don't know compared to the other tanks that are out there. Tanks aren't terrible now. They're just kind of in a, place where maybe they should have been in the first place. Is Baron the right pick here for the rest of this comp? We're going to find out as they finish it out, but it's a hover of Jing Wei for the King's Court. It is worth mentioning, Rage is now in the game. If you talked to me 2 weeks ago, I would tell you that Jing Wei was not good, and people were very mad at me about that, but I don't know that Rage is what makes her go from she's not very good to oh my god, she's great category. She does do a good job of escapability from the rest of this comp though, which is kind of nice. Mordred, Cabrakan, the last picks here, Musi. How are we feeling about these comps?
So far, I really like the King's Court composition. Feels very, how do I describe this? We're waiting for Bari to get online, but while we wait for Bari to get online, we have gods here that can help transition us to that point. Ymir offers a lot of pressure in the dual lane just by raw kill potential and good ability to clear. So this Ymir Jingwei lane presumably will be pretty safe. And then Odin in the solo lane, or rather Odin in the jungle, because Mordred's in the solo lane. Now you have that cage that can rotate around the map, help set up and make arenas for this King's Court composition so they can take more scrappy fights and engagements like that for some shells from Party Game. Meanwhile, Party Game feels like a composition that is either going to completely dominate this game or crash and burn. There is no in between. When you have characters like Zeus and like Baron Samedi, if they don't get a good foot forward, if they don't ever get a chance to get online, they just die over and over and over and over and over again. There's not a whole lot that you can do, but you do have Cabrakan, you do have Fenrir to start off engagements with that good foot forward that you need. So give and take here, I think King's Court definitely scales better in the late game though.
Yeah, and we're going to find out as we head into game here. I want to highlight the fact that I think we need to watch the Cabrakan. I'm curious to see how that's played out here. That's one of those gods that can really be like feast or famine, which is an odd thing to say about a character that goes into the solo lane, but like really and truly, like that god kind of feels that way sometimes. He's going to be able to operate a little bit easier here by being in solo, but something to watch out to as, you know, you play into the Mordred here for Snatty. But we always have to shout it out at the beginning of each game. Obviously, Musi, you're with me here on the cast, but we have our eyes in the skies. We have our production members. We have our social media person as well. We have Jithens, Avi, Red Rosie Panda, and Testai all out here with us today. Make sure to shout them out and show them a little love too, because they are the ones that can make this happen. But as we head in here, I agree with what you said earlier. It's, this Bari pick is the one to kind of watch out here. We want to know, can they facilitate a protect the president type of comp? Because that's really what they want to do, is get the Bari online so she can run it down later on. Now, she's in the mid lane with the Bluestone. It's going to be feeling pretty good into this Zeus. Who do you think has the advantage here between Globe and Briz with these picks here, Musi? So
Briz's main job at this point is just to farm as much as they can and not get caught out by Globe or by a random Fenrir gank, because I feel like Zeus's clear is going to be a bit more effective in the early game. Once Briz gets some items online, then they can throw out a couple abilities, have that real mage clear moment. Remember, there are no more super tanky anti-magic minions, so she'll have a bit of an easier time clearing. But definitely for sure, Globe will have an advantage, at least for now. Because once that ball gets rolling, once that ticking time bomb has a chance to set off, Briz is just going to skyrocket and start completely blowing people up. Princess Bari has so much going for her in this mid lane because she can just get all the farm that she ever wants and needs.
Oh, look at this. An early just jump on in, and they are going to find it. They eat the tower shot. They don't care. First blood goes to Kyaku on the Fenrir. And you have to feel pretty good if you're taking Bari down. We talked about this is the character that you want to watch out for. You want to keep her down as long as possible because once she gets online, she becomes hard to deal with. The damage that can be put out, just especially when Mystic Surge is activated, becomes really, really annoying to deal with. A nice free here by Moods. Golden looking for a play here as well, but for now, they're just going to farm the minions and let each other walk back to their farm.
And what's important to note about Princess Bari as well is she doesn't have that escape that Aladdin has. We know Briz loves to play these characters in mid lane like Aladdin, like Bari, where you're just kind of hyper farming to late game, and once you get there, you kill everybody in the lobby, right? Aladdin has the opportunity to run and jump over walls to avoid a Fenrir in this situation. Bari does not have those choices, so positioning becomes extremely important. And just like I said right at the beginning of the game, if this Fenrir shows up to mid lane and gets an early gank off, Briz is just gonna die if they get caught out. There's not a whole lot that they can do. Yeah, maybe when you hit level 5 you have some options, but until then it's curtains.
Oh, and Justin Hu gets a nice gank here. They're trying to find Globe. Can they finish off the kill? Globe dive into the tower. They get the kill, but Briz takes a fall as well because here comes the Fenrir again. Ragnarok U is not able to connect it, but it doesn't matter. A 1-for-1 trade onto the mid laners. Both junglers feeling pretty good about that one, if I have to say.
A really smart use of the Odin cage there, completely blocks off the Fenrir from being able to chase after, but now they've got 2 kills up in that jungle, so little scary for the King's Court. Something else to note too, Globe here does not have beads. Mordred doesn't connect.
Mordred coming over for the farm. He wants those little, little
the
fire
aquarium
pit
rocks.
minions. The aquarium rocks, as you like to say. Like, they want that little bit of extra stats for free, by the way. You just walk over, you kill the minions, you get some free strength and intelligence. Now Globe under the aggression here, but gets a great bounce, gets the stun. Oh, this is trouble for the King's Court. Here comes Kyaku running it down on the Fenrir. Can you catch Justin Hu? You do, and you send him to the gray screen. 1-for-0 trade there. Great ultimate there by Globe to just shut them down and then just say, hey, by the way, I'm going to leave you here too and let the Fenrir do what dogs do. Chase the opponent down.
Feels like Kyaku has been able to they're always in the right place at the right time, and how much of that has been just audit levels of macro positioning, or just being like, oh, what are you guys doing here? Yeah, I guess I'll brutalize you. What are you doing in my house? Like, you don't belong here. But these small mistakes that the King's Court are making so early on are propelling Kyaku to levels unheard in this jungle, because they are just getting so much farm online. Already they have a Broggy's Harp, so now when they jump on somebody with the Brutalize, they're getting so much extra damage off of it. And that in turn helps keep Globe alive and afloat. Remember, no beads for this Zeus makes them a prime target to be jumped on by Justin Hu. But if you can just stay ahead and farm, and if you've got that dog in your backline ready to jump in at a moment's notice, you don't have to worry about that as much.
Well, it's worth noting too, like in OB7, we probably would have seen the Fenrir with Aspect, wanting to get that slow going and saying, hey, I can give up some damage here. This is a Fenrir that wants to get in, get active, and do a lot of damage.
Yes.
Now, might be in a little bit of a hard place here, but look at this. It's a rotation over. It's going to be a 3v3 fight. Obviously, Justin Hu just jumps over the wall and says, yeah, we're just not going to deal with a Baron and a Fenrir together. That seems like a bad time. But right now, the Fenrir is kind of the catalyst that's making things happen for Party Game. Obviously, Globe has done some work too along the way as part of all 3 of those kills. But it's worth noting that without the Fenrir being around, I don't think those kills necessarily go those ways, and maybe it turns into a spill. Now, Party Game are feeling pretty good about themselves. They say, okay, we're going to go ahead and pull the Gold Fury. It is burning fast here. Moods steps up looking to try to steal it away. Ults, and now it's going to be a just trade out. Moods dies, and Party Game pick up the Gold Fury. Now on the other side here, Bari's here making the way in. Briz picks up a kill. Here comes the dive in by Golden. The King's Court are trying to find anything they can. Here comes Snatty looking to make a play with the Mordredal. Oh, I thought there might have been a dive in the tier 2, and I was like, wow, you really want it, because if you Mordredal under that tier 2, you are definitely dying afterwards to the tower shots. But no, cancels it and says, never mind, I will see myself back to the other side of the map. Solo lane has been going pretty well here for Snatty against this Rimakami Kabrakan, which, again, earlier I said is one of those gods that can really be kind of feast or famine. Right now, just getting to farm away. Are you worried, or you think we're just really waiting for the team fights for this Kabrakan to start making a move?
So Kabrakan will definitely start showing up when we see them join at a grander stage, those team fights, like you mentioned. Mordred wins lane pretty hard just by virtue of the fact that they have so many abilities that they get to throw out whenever they feel like. They're rocking Bluestone every single time. So Remakami at this point is just holding down the lane. Their job is to not feed, right? You just don't die, which is pretty easy to do as Kabrakan. You've got the damage mitigation. You have a whole bunch of stuns. So Snatty won't have a great time trying to engage in. And because of that, Remakami is just able to live in that lane. But Snatty making this invade, that could spell trouble.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of trouble here. And now Rubikami's in a little bit of an entering spot. There's the Snatty ultimate up, down. And now Justin, who is here? I don't know if they're really going to look to try to get this kill. It looks like they're willing to fight it. Globe's on the rotation over, though. That's a Zeus. And if that chain lightning goes off, it's going to be a bad time. Snatty gets walled in. Snatty gone. Globe shows up and makes sure they secure that one. Looked like it was going to go well there. And I was going to say, you know what's interesting is Cabrakan just starting Pendulum Blade. Just off the rip. Says, I want the extra cooldown on my abilities. But there's a guessing game to be played in this matchup between the King's Court and the party game Musi. How many tier figs do we see this game, you think? Oh, actually, wait, Moods is now ingressed. Does Kyako go for it? There's the Ragnarok, and they're looking at Rudy says, all right, that's a Ymir. There's nowhere to go. Goodbye. The Fenrir strikes again. 4-0-1.
The over-under for tier fangs has got to be 2. Wait. 3.
3?
Yes, 3.
Are we going to be over or under? That's the real question.
Over 3. Because who can use it? And we already see it. The Fenrir has it. The Honor has it. I feel like Jing Wei can easily pick it up. I feel like Princess Bari can probably pick it up. Globe can pick it up if he's feeling saucy. Have I mentioned how good this item is? How you can build on anybody who uses auto attacks? We talked about that enough. We touch on that real quick. Hey, everybody. Broken. Very good.
It's
Play
so
in your
good.
rate games. It's so good. It's like you just get so much value from it. It's not that expensive either. It's like before you would rush chin size, now you just rush into your thing.
Oh, and now Rudy is getting looked at here, and that's a lot of damage. He does jump into the tier 1 tower, but Golden doesn't care. They expend both ults for that? I'm a little bit surprised there. I think they didn't have to both use it. I don't know if the communication was a bit off, but you know what? You get the kill. Who cares? And maybe you look at some extra farm. Now, we do have Speak No Evil heading over here on the Baron just to kind of slow down that lane push and hopefully not allow him to do too much. But a great gank here onto Rudy. It has to feel pretty good. Obviously, the carries are even right now. But how are you feeling about this dual lane matchup? Do you think it's going better for one team than the other? Do you think Golden is playing, you know, it's the Jing Wei. I talked about it before. It's the early game that seems to be the problem. How are you feeling about it?
I mean, they're doing exactly what they need to do. And that is mostly just mitigate as much of the loss as you can. Golden's just trying to farm to get the late game. Now we're looking at a Gold Fury. It's dropping down to about half, but the Baron doesn't have Sunder, so the steal potential, not there.
Yeah, and I feel like that feels good. You even out the Gold Furies. Obviously, you don't want one of the teams to get, the opposing team to get all 3 before you. You want to at least be kind of even because the buffs that come along with it along the way are pretty freaking good. So you want to be like, hey, I want to have it. Now, Briz over here in the mid lane is level 12 now. You're feeling pretty good. Is behind Globe, though. Oh, and Speak No Evil's made a rotation over. There's the ultimate. Briz could be put into the crypt. Uses the ultimate to get out. Almost connected from a chain lightning. Globe was looking for that kill. Briz, I was going to say, we're getting to that point now where you're getting to level 12. You're getting to where you want to be itemization-wise. When do you think we see Briz get the chance to have the pop-up potential that Globe's kind of had on this Zeus and being able to stun and pick up kills?
It happens very abruptly. At some point in the game, a Princess Bari will just start killing you out of nowhere. Before, it would be like, oh yeah, I've taken a bit of damage here, but I can stand up to this, no big deal. And then it's kind of like how you were talking about Ao Kuang last game, where you walk up, you're like, yeah, I can fight her. Oh, I just died. And that's gonna happen after she has probably a couple more items online. I usually figure around that 16-minute mark. The Bari's going to be like level 16, level 17. She's going to have a few items online. Once she gets enough points into her abilities, suddenly she starts hitting like a tank, and there's nothing you can really do to stand up to her.
Yeah, I was going to say about level 17 is when Bari feels like she just is like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm allowed to play the game now. Which is always a funny time because she steps up and then you're like, wait a minute, I'm dead. Like, and you go and you like check the logs. You're like, what killed me? And it's like, oh, okay, she did. So I'm curious to see if that's what happens here. They're fighting over this Pyro, a lot of back and forth. No one really doing too much damage to each other. Doing a good amount of damage to the Pyro, just not actually taking it down. Mood's looking for a play on Globe here. Globe is very much aware of it on that Zeus. Hasn't really been caught out yet. for not having any way to get out besides needing the 3 charges to stun and snap the fingers. But now they're going to go back. They said, hey, it's about 13 minutes in. Let's go and get some more of the aquarium rocks along the way. Snatty looked to make a move around it, but Party Game has been grouped up as this 4-man grouping in that Pyromancer Fire Giant pit area for about 2 minutes now, looking to make a play. And now we're back to just farm mode, and it's Snatty versus Rimakami here, and Snatty's eating a good bit of damage from the Cabrakan.
To circle back to something you mentioned about Globe, the peel, as Rudy will be able to walk away. King's Court will settle for a purple buff, but a lot of what enables Globe to live in this situation has to do with their itemization. Look, they have a Jade Scepter and a Bloodbound Book, 2 items with active effects. The first one shoves somebody off, which is perfect for a Zeus because you just knock them away and you're like, cool, now I'm gonna speed off, I'm good. If they do commit onto you, you activate Bloodbound Book, and then you give yourself that health shield to give you a bit more survivability, a bit more sustain. So already Globe kind of patching up the few weaknesses that Zeus has with these items will enable him to stay alive longer, and that ultimately means that he will just deal more damage, more sustained damage in a team fight. You really have to have somebody jump on top of Zeus and then jump on top of him again, realistically. And because Globe is holding on to Shell instead of beads, you can't just Odin cage him, you can't just Ymir wall him off. So as long as Globe positions correctly, in theory, Globe shouldn't be dying too often, and that's a very scary thing for this King's Court composition.
They're on a war. They thought they were being sneaky, and they weren't. Briz, level 15 here, engages with Moods. Obviously, Justin Hu is there. There's the Baron ultimate, looking to put someone in the crypts, but it's Globe with the big ultimate that we had to worry about, the one we've been talking about. Luckily, only really connects onto the Ymir. You don't have to worry about it too much. Moods is like, yeah, I'm half health. Who cares? There's plenty more where that came from. Looking for another freeze. Looking for a play onto the Baron Samedi. Speak No Evil says, no, you guys need to worry about Globe. You got to worry about the Zeus. That's who you need to put the freezes and damage onto if you can. Globe walks away with another kill. 2-1-4 on the Zeus. Has to be feeling pretty good while you're on top of the damage charts as well.
And just to talk more about Globe's build, now they have a Circe's Hexstone. So now they have a knock-up, a shield, a dash, and the rest of Zeus kit. Globe, it doesn't die for the rest of the game, unless a miracle happens for the King's Court. That's just how it goes, right? 1 death, whole game. That's Globe. Party Game, looking at this Gold Fury, should be able to take it. Even as Speak No Evil falls really low, there's just no response here from the King's Court, and how can they find it? It feels like they're just playing this waiting game until they can get Briz online, but even after this Princess Bari gets online, you have to think Party Game feels kind of ready for it because they're handling every other player on this King's Court team so far.
Yeah, that was a really good zoning out even onto Golden, right? Like, Hyaku's over there and just saying, yeah, you're not going to step up. I'm not going to let you ult over the Gold Fury pit back and forth and hopefully get a chance to steal it. Party Game did a really good job of making sure they had zoned it out and that no one was stepping up at all. Because I think had they done that, I think had, King's Court been able to send someone over there, they would have just full-on engaged on them and then taken them out. Like, Party Game seems to know exactly what they want to do here. And we haven't even seen Rimakami been too much a part of the fight yet. It's been rotated to, like, one fight where you drop the wall and kill somebody. This gets worse in some ways when that rotation happens. There's not a single shell for King's Court to deal with those walls. So you're relying strictly on ults or, leaps on the way over. Bari hasn't made the rotation over. They're putting a lot of damage on the Justin Hu. And right now it seemed like he might have been able to live, but no. Kyaku puts him down. The Fenrir leaping in, looking for more. Hexstone used by Moods. There's the wall, but a Hexstone also channeled on the other side of this. They're not going to find Moods, but they were able to find Justin Hu. The Odin just could not make it out of there alive. Looks like a tier 1 tower here for Party Game. Maybe a little bit more. I would assume they go back and finally take the Pyromancer they were eyeing earlier.
So Party Game have definitely taken this snowball that they're starting and really starting to accelerate with it. And you can see that in the confidence of how they're positioning and how they're playing. It's just W key and using tools with Wild Abandon, Circe's Hexstone, not only for your Zeus, but also for your Baron Samedi giving these characters a lot of mobility. And I think you really highlighted something important. The King's Court have no shells, so this Cabrakan ultimate becomes super handy, especially when trapping characters like Ymir, like Bari, like Mordred, even like Jing Wei to an extent, because if that Jing Wei doesn't have ult and Ramakami is able to cross that distance and trap her in, she doesn't have a way to really get out and around it. Maybe knock herself up in the middle of it and try to snake out around the walls, but that's kind of far-fetched of a plan for that character. So already a lot of options available for party game, but I do like the item pickup here from Briz. Because they don't have shell, they have a Helm of Darkness, which gives you a similar effect of shell that lets you walk through player-made obstacles. So not only do you have that, you also can go invisible, gives you a little bit of prots, a little bit more survivability against all of this initiation, against all of the engage from party game, and then a little bit of maneuverability. If you're invisible, maybe you can try to sneak behind somebody. So I like the response here, at least from Briz. I almost worry though that it's a little too late, because party game has just been dominating, and all of it has been on either a Globe or Kiyaka.
Yeah. And I think you look at it and you're just like, okay, they're grouped all the time now. Party game are grouped in at least groups of 2, if not more, every time. We see it right here as Kyaku goes in. Yeah, Snatty ults away. Bye. Doesn't want to go back in. Maybe actually does. Loop back around. Kyaku is looking for a player. Moods goes for a freeze. Doesn't end up finding much with it. The wall is off the mark. Rimakami is getting ran down and looked at here. The Cabrakan could be in a smidge bit of trouble here. Doesn't have the ultimate anymore. There's the Odin Cage. Justin Hu uses it to disengage. But Golden steps up and says, yeah, I want to fight. Then gets Baron just rooted in place. But here comes the Baron ultimate. Enter the crypts. Moods looking for some damage and just some CC immunity. Golden gets on the way out. Snatty trying to find a way into the back line. Dives on the globe, but it doesn't matter. Rudy finds Moods. And then it's party game just disengaging for a second so they can figure out how they want to re-engage the King's Court. It's still 4 of them there as Rimakami goes, hey, I'm going to back for a second. You guys go take the farm that you need. And they got what they wanted. They got a tier 1 tower. They also got a kill along the way. So again, party game steps up, gets something, makes maybe something out of a little bit of nothing that was there, because the King's Court basically used all of their ultimates and didn't get anything for it.
They used all their ultimates defensively. That Odin Cage didn't catch anybody, and there was no follow-up after the fact, right? And you saw Snatty, like you said, try to get into the backline on top of Globe, but Globe's got so many tools and Jade Scepter, Bloodbound Book, Cersei's Hexstone that they don't really care if a Mordred jumps on top of them. They're not too worried. They just drop their own ult on top and says, hey, you want to fight me in here? I don't think you do, man. I think you want to walk away. Snatty now, potential spot of bother.
Yeah. Oh, Wind Sprite saves the life of Snatty. Finally. Don't get to see that. We haven't seen too many of those used yet today. Nice little Wind Sprite allowing you to jump around. Kind of like a combat blink, but very much, less useful in a lot of ways because they're in certain points on the map. Can only be used for a certain amount of time. Now Golden gets engaged on upon here. Those Hexstones are going crazy. Globe uses his to engage. Beads burned by Golden here, trying to get away from Rimakami, but Rimakami has now entered the cage with Justin Hu. The King's Court are trying to find a way to get anything here. They've already lost Moods. They've lost 1. On the other side, this Briz is going in. Chose to engage. Justin Hu falls to Kyaku on the backside. Snatty is up here trying to make something happen. Briz stepped up and used everything that was there. Uses Helm of Darkness to try to get away. Kyaku is standing there just looking for the scent of the kill. Can't find it, unfortunately. But that is 3 for nothing in favor of party game. They're going to back, and they're probably going to head to the Fire Giant, or they could go for Ancient Fury. The choice is theirs.
Princess Bari and Fenrir holding hands unknowingly as they walk together in the jungle. Oh, dear. You know what's interesting about that fight, too? Globe was full health that whole time, despite the fact that there was a Mordred right next to them. And I will say, I'm not a fan of Baron Samedi in support. I don't think the value from that character is quite as significant as some other ones, but they do offer quite a bit of sustain, and Speak No Evil has been offering that to their team in droves. Just keeps the health bars of party game up. A team that's already very difficult to lock down, very difficult to kill, gets even harder to kill. even more so now, Fire Giant. Confirmed by Party Game. No one from King's Court even attempted to contest it. And now Briz under duress from Rimakami.
Oh my goodness, Rimakami running down. And look at this. Did you look at the itemization here for Rimakami and Kyaku here? They both have Nemia. Like, they're both like, yeah, go ahead and auto us. Go ahead and have a good time. Snatty looks to make a, charge in. Isn't able to do much with it. Does dissuade them from tracing Briz further, but they're okay with that. They're going to go grab Ancient Fury now, which they are completely okay with. They're 7,000 gold ahead, and they are taking the fight to the King's Court right now. They step up. They're choosing what dictates it, and this is a scary time for the King's Court, because once Party Game has decided when they're going to dictate the fights, that's when you know you have a problem.
Well, and to highlight, too, we were talking about with the builds from both this Cabrakan and from the Fenrir, the King's Court relies a lot on auto attack damage to get their damage in. Both Golden and Briz are the main sources of damage for King's Court. Yeah, Odin, sure, but look at their items. They're a tank jungle, so a lot of what they're doing is just trying to set up for their damage and try to get people in the cage and then survive afterwards. If Briz and Golden can't get their damage off because the tanks are like, yeah, we got Nemean, and we got a Pharaoh's Curse here too, so we don't really care about anything you do, suddenly the King's Court can't fight at all. They don't have the damage. They can't do damage to Party Game. Party Game sustains through it because of Baron Samedi, and also Globe, I feel like a broken record here, can't die. Globe can't die. Globe hasn't died. Globe isn't going to die. So the King's Court don't have a great way to win this game because Party Game has outplayed them in terms of macro and also in terms of itemization. Party Game has to screw up majorly for King's Court to be able to come back.
Yeah, I mean, just even looking at the KDAs, I mean, it's 0-5 on Rimakami. Your solo is literally doing exactly what you want them to do. Obviously, cool, more kills could be awesome, but Rimakami's the top of the damage charts, so I don't want to hear that. 6-0-3 for the Fenrir, absolutely amazing. That's exactly what you want from your jungler. Globe died one time early on in the game, hasn't come close since. That is a scary time when the Zeus is the one that hasn't been close to dying since, like, what was it, 5 minutes into the game? And now they're using Hexstone to engage onto a Phoenix. They're not even worried about having it for a fight for an engage or disengage. Ragnarok is used here by Kyaku. Now here comes Snatty. Snatty goes running through the team, doesn't connect with anybody, tries to use it just to zone them off of it. They're looking for a play on this backside. Can they find a kill onto Rimakami? Finally, Rimakami is low. Rimakami finally takes a death. Briz picks up a kill as well, but they lose the Phoenix. I mean, that was a 5-for-5 trade, and guess what? There's still an ult on Rudy, and Snatty is dead, so there's no ultimate actually there. You sponged all of your ultimates just to defend, and you still lost the Phoenix. That is a rough way to go here for the King's Court. I do have to give it to them. They finally did take the Cabrakan out, and Cabrakan is part of their problem because the zoning that Cabrakan's been offering and the lockdown that it's been offering has been a problem. It's allowed Kyaku, and it's allowed Globe to just kind of free cast onto them.
It's 100% correct. The King's Court, they are able to shove off Rimakami there, but did you see the health bars of both Briz and Golden? I mean, they were not even knocking on Death's door. Like, the door was open. Death was there. It was like, you guys want to come inside? I got fruit roll-ups and gushers if you guys are interested. Like, a lemonade? Too much sugar?
Chocolate
okay,
chip cookies?
maybe some
Yeah,
water,
yeah.
chocolate chip cookies, milk to go with it, everything you want and need. Like, King's Court almost lost the game there if Briz and Golden die. So it's almost by like a stroke of luck that they're able to hang on for that long. I will say the King's Court, they do have a chance in if they can really drag this game out and try to get some items online. I mean, we need things like Executioner picked up so that we can reduce the prots of everybody, because not only does it reduce physical prots, it reduces magical as well. It's just reduces protections by 6%. So have it, and then you can really start laying into these tanks.
Snatty engages here on a Rimakami. It's Speak No Evil's the only one there for Party Game right now. The rest are marching up, and the King's Court say, yeah, I'm good. And they just dip. They decide that that is not an engagement that they want to take. They're going to get some wards up. They know Fire Giant's getting ready to be pulled here. I'm curious to see, do they try to make a play to steal it? Do they go to Gold Fury, or what is their plan here? Party Game are just standing around and waiting for something to happen and dictating the pace of which they want to set. And now Rimakami they get the ult out of the Cabrakan. That is a positive here. And the King's Court just fully disengage. This is a scary time, because if they're going to wait for a Fire Giant fight here, you are down a substantial amount of gold. Now, let's say they're able to steal it and get a kill. If they can turn it into a 5v4 and do something with that, and Snatty gets a huge ult, eats a ton of beads off the back line, this is exactly what they needed. Kyaku has to jump out. There's the Odin Cage. We know there's no Rimakami ultimate right now. Actually, it is back up, so they do have to be a little bit careful. I think they might think it's still down. Bari channels the ultimate, but isn't inside of it. Can't. Oh, actually does get the revive on themselves, but it's too late. The disarm, the silence, and everything else that goes with it shuts it down. Justin Hu jumps over the Cabrakan wall. Oh my goodness, living by just a smidge of health, but it might get ran down here. Globe, Rimakami are on the way. Golden shows up, looking to put out the damage to take out Rimakami, and does. Golden finally gets a kill on the board 28 minutes into the game, and looking to trade Globe as well. The unkillable Zeus has to walk away, is TKO'd for the time being, but is gonna step back up. Globe is apparently just not scared of what the King's Court have. The Zeus is one crit away from going bye-bye. Kyaku low, Snatty full health, looking to make a play here. 4 members of Party Game are standing up. Almost all of them are under half health, except for their ADC, Rudy, who is deciding to play frontline at the moment. Here comes Snatty. Snatty making a play, looking for Globe. Globe is knocked up in the air. The shield is gone. Do you have the engage that's there to take him down? Somehow, he is still alive. He channels the ultimate. They're looking for a kill. Golden picks it up. Snatty gets another one. Globe, the man has finally fallen. The one we thought wouldn't die again with all the defensive items. Golden comes away with another kill. This is what you needed if you're the King's Court to get back on the board.
And not only that, just a tragic mistake that the Party Game made. The fight gets separated because you have Globe and Rimakami chasing somebody down in that mid lane. Snatty is left to their own devices in the back, along with Golden, who's able to get that return kill. And because the fight was split up, you had one tank rushing off somewhere else, the other tank left stranded alone. King's Court capitalized, and they're looking for more than that. They're looking at a Fire Giant right now, which is dropping down to half, but Party Game is not ready to let it go.
Hexstone is used to get in. Speak No Evil is up. There's the ultimate challenge. Bring it into the crypts, but they're not going to take Golden into a death. They're not going to send it to the gray screen. There it goes. The Fire Giant is slain, destroyed by Justin Hu. Briz comes away with the kill. Rimakami looking for a kill on the backside. The King's Court walk away with the fire. I don't know. Did one of them get the dagger? Oh no, and there's a spill by Golden. The one you don't want to lose was finally starting to get online and starting to be able to do the damage that you needed. Here comes Justin Hu trying to fight off Rimakami. Snatty makes the ultimate move in, trying to get it. There's the Cabrakan, under health, having to run away, walk away. Shell has been used, but there's Briz with a nice bit of damage. Justin Hu picks up the kill. Speak No Evil is going to be the next one to possibly fall if they decide to chase. They don't. They see Globe walking up. They know what the Zeus can do when he gets loose in a team fight. And now Kyaku was in the mid lane having to jump out. Briz is on the chase of the Fenrir. The King's Court, they might be down 18-9 kills. They might be down 5,000 gold still, but you wouldn't know it with the way they're fighting off the Party Game.
Actually ridiculous that the King's Court have swung back in this massive way. I mean, what did I say? If they can hold out for just a bit longer, if they can get some penetration online, you see that Titan's Bane there for Golden, got a Titan's Bane there for Briz. Now we can start to burn through those Nemean lines, those Pharaoh's curses, the tank from Party Game. And in addition to that, it feels like Party Game kind of lost the sauce a little bit there and overestimated themselves and how much they can do with how few resources they believe they can do with it. And what I mean by that is just not committing the manpower to engagements or thinking that maybe, yeah, all I need is a Baron and a Cabrakan to be able to take a fight. No. You need all hands on deck. Just because King's Court was down, I didn't mean that they were out. And now Party Game is on damage control, trying to stop the King's Court from starting a snowball of their own.
Yeah, now they're aggressing this tier 1 tower, which is finally going to fall in the mid lane. But this is the King's Court. The ball is literally in their court now. Everything has gone their way the last two fights. The momentum is on their side. Ancient Fury should be the next thing looked at for either of these teams. Obviously, the King Courts would like it because they want to start stacking that Gold Fury up beyond just the first one. Also, just allowing you to do more damage to those objectives. Golden on the way back. The party game has pulled it for now. Moods is very much aware of it. So is Briz and Justin Hu. They're looking for the positioning around it. Party game looking to step up. There is the ultimate. Hexstone used by Moods to just get in the way of it. Try to zone it off and does. Hexstone now used by Speak No Evil. Here goes the Ragnarok. Kyaku is gone. The Fenrir to lead it, and they're looking for more. King's Court are starting their rundown, but they have to be aware. Rimakami looking for a play and doing a ton of damage to Golden. Golden has to ult away, use it defensively rather than aggressively, and look at Globe. Globe on the chase down. The Zeus is running it down and trying to make any sort of catch up there that they can. Snatty over in the mid lane, clearing off the minions. Party game heading back to the Gold Fury.
So many tools happening all at the same time, and the Fenrir to be the only one to fall. Not looking great for Party Game. They're just lacking a little bit of damage at the back end there in order to make it happen, and the King's Court ready to re-engage.
Yeah, King's Court come diving in. Globe's obviously safe in the back line. Globe is able to pick up the Gold Fury. So again, Party Game is able to get that for now, but then their Baron gone. Great wall there by Moods to take him down, but it's the chase down now by the King's Court. Justin Hu with the wall. Phantom Shell has been used by Rimakami trying to run away on the Kabrakan. They do have to worry about a tier 2 in mid. They can't aggress onto the Phoenix. They're going to go around and probably take that down. Nope, they're just going to walk away. Maybe they change their mind. Minions are walking up. They're going to make a decision soon enough. There they go. Tier 2 it is for the King's Court. Great re-engage, but they do lose the Gold Fury and weren't able to pick it up. But they do get a kill, so it's a 5v4 for the time being. They do have the power play. Do they decide to do anything with it on this Phoenix? They are looking for a way in. They do have to be careful of Globe. Globe has been able to put out a ton of damage. There's the Rimakami ult. Good. Golden gets out some way, somehow. There's the freeze. Globe able to pick up the kill on the Golden afterwards. Had the charge on it. There's the Bari ultimate looking to save the life of themselves and their companions. Snatty had made a dive in. Briz is the one that takes a fall. Justin Hu is gone. Snatty in the front line trying to do something. Moods with a huge freeze. Can Snatty finish off the kills is the question of the day. It's just him versus 3. Snatty trying to be the hero for the King's Court. Can he be the king or will he be the jester? He takes the spill and Kyaku finishes it off so Party Game could run it down the mid lane.
Deicide, the Party Game managed to hold on against that mid Phoenix, and a lot of that was the fact that Golden gets picked off, immediately trapped out by the Kabrakan ultimate, nowhere to go, and King's Court dead for another 20 seconds here. Easily a mid Phoenix, but potentially more. The only one to defend will be Golden, but the clock is ticking.
Yeah, Golden is up in 7 seconds. The countdown timer is there. Globe says, I don't even care if it's up. Let's go ahead and channel the ultimate. Titan under half health. There's the walls from Rakami. I don't know that Golden can make the hero play. There's Speak No Evil's ultimate. 2,000 health on the Titan. Can he do anything? No. Party Game takes it away and gets the kill on the Golden. We'll move on to the semifinals of Smite Prime.
Little bit messy at the end there from Party Game. Did look like the King's Court had it there for a moment, had me sweating a little bit from the way that they were playing, but unfortunately just a rough fight on that mid Phoenix, and all it takes is one sour fight to be able to just end a game. Once you're at 30 minutes, the death timers are far too long to be able to stand up to it. When you wipe there, Snatty just didn't have the damage to finish cleaning up. A valiant effort from the Mordred, but Jingwei getting caught out pretty much immediately. Bari also taking a whole bunch of damage. Spells doom for the King's Court, so they will not be moving on.
I mean, and taking a look at the scoreboard, we talked about these builds all through the game. Like, if you look at what Party Game was doing, they were counter building the whole way through. They knew exactly what itemization that they wanted to deal with this Bari and this Jingwei. I mean, all the way through. Globe had a crazy build on the Zeus. If you told me that's what I was going to see today when we locked in the Zeus, I would have been like, oh yeah, maybe. But like, just went almost undying after 5 minutes. Took one other spill along the way. But man, what an absolute play by Globe here. Snatty did try to turn it around for his team, tried to make the plays to engage and set up damage, couldn't do it for the King's Court, but you have to shout out everything Party Game was able to do here. Rimakami made sure to say, hey, I'm going to get my itemization online, I'm going to hit late game, then I'm going to join the team fight, and was very relevant from there on out. Kyaku was able to be relevant from start to finish on the Fenrir. This is a team to watch for in the semifinals, Musi.
Oh, 100%. And their macro play too was on point. I mean, we saw Party Game take the first goal here of the game, and it was pretty early on that they were able to take that away from the King's Court. So all in all, good stuff from this Party Game team, and I'm excited to see what else they can do. Whole player damage. Ramakami. 45k. Alameo, they say that tanks are dead this patch. No. It's not how that works. I'm telling you right now, tanks are just fine. They're all right. They'll be okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit worried about the Kabrakan, just a smidge, because like it's one of those gods that can really pop off, or it's one of those ones that just falls stagnant. It's just there for walls. Rimakami really showcased Kabrakan really well here, not just from the damage perspective, just from the overall gameplay and how to approach it with the team fights. I mean, really didn't take a death until 30 minutes into the game. Really just looked great the whole entire time. Really fantastic play here by Party Game. Shout outs to Rudy on the ADC as well. Was able just to kind of hold their own there for a while to make it into the late game and then be relevant from there on out. Went 6-3-8 on her. Speak No Evil. We talked about the Baron and kind of having a hard time to support in the last game we watched, but like this game showcases like, hey, if you're going the sustain method and keeping your team alive and then pulling people for CC and setting your team up, it works out really well because Speak No Evil didn't fall behind, which was really well played here. Shout outs to everybody on Party Game. I'm excited to see where they go from here, and we're going to throw it over to the bracket to take a look at what's going to happen next with the semifinals. And remember, this is our last week of the open bracket, and our next game is going to be Anadeon Robbers, and they're going to be facing either the Bakery or Cherry Slush. We don't know who yet, but that's a team or a set of games that we shouted out earlier that might be one to see who progresses from there. It's number 1, the Bakery, versus number 8, Cherry Slush, who's trying to make their way into that closed bracket next week, which, remember, top 8 teams, double elimination, and they're playing not only for diamonds, but they're playing for money too here, Musi.
Well, and it's always interesting to see. I mean, you would really expect a team like Cherry Slush to be ranked a little bit higher too. I mean, you got some big boy names on there. Benny Q, Cyclone Spin. I mean, just to name a couple. But up against the Bakery, they've been playing pretty hot so far. Not even just today, but last week too, they were looking pretty solid. They were baking up some goods. So Anadeon Robbers will absolutely have their work cut out for them, because it doesn't matter who comes out from that bloodbath of a game between the Bakery and Cherry Slush. It's gonna be tough to contend with.
Yeah, and we look at our other team, Party Game. We already know they moved on. They're going to be facing either Bible Study or Sparta Super Soldiers here in their next matchup of the semifinals. It's going to be an interesting day here for Smite Prime. The Bakers be bacon, or does Cherry Slush take them down? We're going to find out more here soon, and we'll be sending it over to that semifinals match after we take here a short break here on Smite Prime. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more Smite action. And as always, if you haven't got up in a little bit, go grab some water, go grab a snack, and we'll be back with some more action.